Zlatibor is a mountain of extraordinary beauty. The Zlatibor landscapes are an exceptional experience for those who love walking in nature, hiking and enjoying the scents of the flourished mountain plants and forests rich with golden pine, firs and spurs. The villages of Zlatibor are vivid and beautiful, thus Zlatibor has excellent prerequisites for further development of rural tourism. In addition to good traffic connections, the villages are appropriately equipped for accommodation and guest stay. The preserved natural environment, healthy food and clean water, the way of life in which traditional values are preserved, which are nowadays mostly forgotten, make the Zlatibor villages authentic and attractive destination for the visitors. Almost every village has a cultural and historical site that can be visited and reveal something about the past. The famous hospitality of Zlatibor hosts, who receive their guests as a friend, will make their stay very special and unforgettable. The guests of Zlatibor can find the accommodation in all the villages in the region. Tourist organization Zlatibor aims to present as better as possible the offer made to tourists of Zlatibor villages, and so this film is a part of a series of conducted promotional activities both domestically and internationally. Rožanstvo is 15 kilometers away from the center of Zlatibor and can be reached by the regional road to Sirogojno. It is located at an average altitude of about 800 meters and has around 450 inhabitants, who are mainly engaged in agriculture. Throughout the village flows the river Prištavica, and on the right side of the riverbank is one of the most beautiful caves in Serbia, Stopića Cave. The cave was named after the rural community Stopići. The first written records about this cave have been found in the report of the Serbian Geological Society from 1901, while the first speleological research was performed by our great researcher and geographer, the famous Jovan Cvić. Stopića Cave is a river cave, 1,691.5 meters long, with the Trnavski stream flowing through it. The cave is composed of 5 sections: the Bright Hall, the Dark Hall, the Great Hall with Baths, the Canal with the Baths and the River Canal. The limestone layer in the cave dates from the Triassic period and is over 100 meters thick. The tourist part of the cave has the several attractive features like a broad entrance, the openings on the ceiling Dugure, Cyper Arch, Dog Cemetery, the Source of Life waterfall and a number of bigger tubs. The impressive entrance is 18 meters high and located at an altitude of about 711 meters. The hallmark of the caves are big tubs, dense, deepened by stone walls, winding reddish folds in which water accumulates and cascades, creating riffles. When the water influx in the river canal is higher, a unique waterfall of 9.44 meters high is formed, which is symbolically called the Source of Life. Stopića Cave is open for visitors every day throughout the year during the working hours of the cave. The municipality of Čajetina has started the process of researching the water resources on the entire area because, according to previous research, Zlatibor lies on the lake of geothermal waters. The first exploratory drilling was set in Banja Vapa, and already at the depth of only 30 meters, the probe has found a large water source. The analysis of the water has determined the significant presence of the hydrocarbonate ions and calcium. The thermal spring Banja Vapa has been tapped and the thermal water from the collection reservoir flows into 4 taps that have 2 pipes each. Vapa Spa in this area is better known by the name Tošina Banja. The thermal water is highly beneficial in treatment of the eye and skin conditions. Its temperature is 18 degrees throughout the year. Back in the 70s of the last century, the construction of the spa complex has started, but unfortunately it was interrupted due to death of the owner Toša Lazović. The construction of the large building with an exterior in a style of a castle, a small church, spa gardens and bathrooms have been planned, but so far has not been completed, although the construction of the entire complex is expected in the near future. This village has a dairy farm Biljana Krin. In the beginning, its purpose was only to collect and distribute the fresh milk from individual milk farms. But later, they've started making their own dairy products. The milk was collected exclusively from the farmers of nearby villages, and initially, only family members worked in this dairy farm. Due to increased demand of their products, additional workers have been engaged. This dairy farm has also its tasting center, where visitors can discover the process of dairy production, try and buy dairy products such as fresh and sliced mature cheese, semi-fat and full-fat cheese, kaimak, thick cream, paprika in sour cream and bottled whey. In addition to accommodation in 3 rural households with 9 beds in offer, the village also has children's resort Bela Breza. Surrounded with beautiful meadow, provides an ideal environment for resting and recreation of preschool and school-age children. The resort has a capacity of 240 beds. Sirogojno is one of the most prominent villages in Zlatibor region, and it is 26 kilometers away from the tourist center. It is believed that the village got its name after a type of pear. It's located at an altitude of 900 meters and has around 600 inhabitants, mainly engaged in agriculture and fruit growing. What makes this village the most recognizable is an old craft of the hard-working women of this area. In the Zlatibor area, women have always been fully engaged in wool processing, from fleece to sliver and yarn, spinning, weaving and knitting, covers and clothes for their close ones, warm woolen socks, gloves, scarves and then came sweaters. Their skill is as old as the world. Women from Sirogojno and surrounding area have shown their handcrafts in public, for the first time at the exhibition in 1962. The bravest one have decided to organize themselves and start knitting for the purpose of selling, and after 3 decades, almost 2,000 knitters worked for the world fashion market. What started as a traditional handcraft turned into creation of fashion clothes of highest quality, unique designs and authentic style. Sweaters, jackets, coats, sets, hats and scarves from Sirogojno were gladly seen at the fashion shows, exhibitions and in the shop windows of the exclusive fashion stores in Sweden, Italy, France, Germany, USA, Japan, etc. In their honor, but also to preserve the extraordinary beauty and exceptional creativity of their work, in Sirogojno was founded the Museum of Knitters as an act of the lasting prize for their perseverance, work and skill that Sirogojno brought into the world and brought the world to Sirogojno. The museum keeps testimonies, the articles from the fashion magazines and publications, as well as the numerous awards that illustrate the significance and the worldwide recognition of Zlatibor knitters. The letters and photographs of celebrities who have had at least one item of clothing made by Zlatibor knitters. In 1979, the first open-air museum, Staro Selo, is opened in Sirogojno, with relocated houses from all parts of Zlatibor, in order to be preserved and displayed there. In an authentic way, this museum exhibits architectural heritage and housing culture of this area from the second half of the 19th and the first half of the 20th century. It consists of two separate units. The first one includes the houses that have preserved both their original shape and purpose, and they are forming two households. And in the second unit are the houses that have retained their primary form, but their purpose has been changed or modified for tourists: taverns, souvenir shop, apartments, etc. The Church of the Holy Apostles Peter and Paul was built in 1764. The founder of the church is Georgije Smiljanić. The greatest value in this temple is its iconostasis, which is the one of the early works of Serbian greatest painter of religious motifs, Simeon Lazović. When it comes to local traditional cuisine, the restaurant Moj Zavičaj in Sirogojno, founded in 1979, is a place that offers an enjoyable ambience, friendly staff, and above all, local food, prepared according to old recipes of the well-experienced chefs. Sports and Recreational Center Viva Sport is only 100 meters away from the center of the village, and it is surrounded by vegetation and gentle slopes and therefore an ideal place for children. The capacity of this facility is 150 beds. In addition to accommodation in rural tourist households, the guests can also rent accommodation in hostels within the museum, Staro Selo, and in the Viva Sport Resort. Within the old village museum, there are 7 authentic Zlatibor log cabins located in the vicinity of the tavern. The interiors of these log cabins are modernized and adapted to the needs of the tourists. These log cabins have different capacities, from double bed to 5 bed. The total capacity is 41 beds. The village Gostilje lies on the slopes of Mountain Zlatibor, 24 kilometers away from the tourist center. The village has a population of approximately 400 inhabitants who are mainly engaged in agriculture, farming and fruit growing. The environment provides a perfect setting for collecting medicinal plants, fishing and sports tourism. Gostilje is a village of abundant natural beauty with very kind and welcoming people. The place where the village church is located, in terms of its geographical position, dominates the whole area and is visible from every part of the village. According to the architect's design, the church was built in the Byzantine style and it is dedicated to the Holy Trinity. In addition to all natural beauties, the village has cultural and historical sites. The birthhouse of Dimitrije Tucović, leader of socialist movement in Serbia, is located in Gostilje. This house was built in 1855 in style of Zlatibor log cabin type. It represents an immovable cultural heritage as a cultural monument of exceptional importance. This prominent lawyer, politician, journalist and publicist was born in Gostilje in 1881. Even though his life devoted to fighting for social justice and workers' rights took him away from his birthplace, the people of Gostilje are proud of their glorious ancestor and the fact that such an important historical figure was born in their village. In the center of the village, a waterfall on the river Vrelo is certainly one of the most attractive hydrologic values of Zlatibor. It's where the water of Gostilje River, before its confluence with Katušnica River, pours down the 22 meters high limestone cliff, forming thus a unique and impressive waterfall. Arranged walking paths are leading to the waterfall, as well as the resting areas with benches, a barbecue and a children's playground. Close by the waterfall is situated a restaurant Gostilska Vrela with accommodation facilities. The resort has 16 rooms with 45 beds. The rooms are modernly equipped and have everything that the guests might need. The restaurant offers a rich selection of local dishes, maize porridge, fried mini breads, bun with everything, grilled trout, and a beautiful landscape view from the terrace. Accommodation capacity of Gostilje includes 142 beds in the rural tourism households and the hostels. Ljubiš is a village 24 kilometers away from the center of Zlatibor at an altitude of 840 meters. Ljubiš is one of the most beautiful places in the region of Zlatibor. The people of Ljubiš are very proud of academic Milan M. Pećinar, hydraulic engineer whose projects and designs stand behind many important power and water supply system facilities in the country. The temple of Saints Constantine and Helen is located in Ljubiš. It was built in 1924 by the construction project of Milan Pećinar. The village Ljubiš is also well known for the Rešumska cave. This is the cave that famous Serbian poet Ljubivoj Rešumović refers to in a poem Baba Roga. This prominent author, children's writer, a poet and the author of the famous children's show, was born in Ljubiš. Many of his verses were dedicated to his limitless source of inspiration, Zlatibor. Throughout the village flows the river Ljubišnica, with the fish ponds built along the river full of California trouts. Traditionally, every year in August, the village organizes Trout Days. This event is now listed as a part of the program of Cultural Summer in Zlatibor. Trout Days include a number of artistic and sport events, as well as an exhibition with a large number of exhibitors. In addition to trout specialties, the visitors of exhibition can enjoy various fruit products, handcrafted items of Zlatibor craftmasters, and many different types of honey. Due to its natural features and the clean air, Ljubiš has become the favorite tourist destination. The village Ljubiš has a special tourist amenity that attracts many visitors: the longest zip line in Serbia. The length of the route is 550 meters and the height is 130 meters. The ride itself takes about a minute with a breathtaking view of the vivid landscapes of Ljubiš. One of the beautiful assets of Zlatibor and the village Ljubiš is certainly the restaurant tavern Pećinar, where the 6 generations of Pećinar family have been engaged in hospitality industry. In a stunning ambience, every picture on the wall and every piece of furniture preserves the memory of the tradition and the ancestors who built the reputation of the family name for decades. In addition to rural households, the visitors can be also accommodated in the hostel and restaurant of the National Cuisine Logos, who in addition to excellent accommodation can enjoy the national restaurant with a beautiful summer garden where they can try trout specialties from the pond located within the complex. The hostel also has a seasonal outdoor pool, fitness and wellness center, guest lounge and children's club. The facility has 12 accommodation units with a total capacity of 40 beds. In the village there is also an ethno-village Boškova Voda that offers bungalows, an outdoor pool and a restaurant. The long forest, the flowery meadows, the kindness of the local population. Yet, Ljubiš has so much more to offer. Among other things, the guests most often speak highly about ethno-households, home-cooked specialties and dining in nature. These homemade dishes are prepared from the ingredients produced and grown right there on the host estate, such as cheese, cream, proja, corn porridge and the forest fruits. And still, this is just a part of what this environment can offer its potential guests. Visitors can also stay at Dacović lodgings in unique apartments. Available accommodation capacities in Ljubiš, including rural tourism households, apartments and lodgings, are 73 beds. The village Šljivovica, known from the magnificence of nature and fruit products, is only 15 kilometers away from the tourist center. Located at an altitude of 700 meters, this village has around 470 inhabitants. The main road that leads from Belgrade to Sarajevo and from Užice to Visegrad passes through the middle of the village. In the village there is also a train station, Branševci, on the railway Belgrade Bar, right after which the Zlatibor tunnel begins. The longest railway tunnel in Serbia, 6,139 meters long. The area around the station is beautifully arranged, and it was used as the filming location for the scenes in the movie The Red-Colored Grey Truck. Due to the large quantities of plums available in this area, it is not surprising that the first written records about famous Šljivovic date back from 1868, and it is considered to be one of the most significant products from these areas. In order to justify their name, since 2008, the village has started organizing the event called the Rakijada, Rakija Fair, which traditionally happens every year in September. Rakijada is an important event for tourist industry and the local economy, and it aims to represent the traditional way of producing Šljivovic that has been produced in this village for centuries. Every year, the visitors have the chance to see what the traditional process of distillation of rakija, baking, in a traditional cauldron pots looks like. Next to the main road Užice-Visegrad, in the village Šljivovica in Braneško Polje, there is a gallery and a workshop of a self-taught woodcarver Miladin Lekić. The self-taught artist creates unusual wood sculptures with a chainsaw, chisel, hammer, and file. He mostly uses the walnut wood, mulberry, and oak for the sculptures and statues, as well as the Slavonian oak for the furniture. Among his works, the most remarkable are his sculptures of wooden peasants made in sizes that ranging from 30 centimeters to 2 meters high. Then an unusual woman with a snake, an eagle, a lion, an elephant, numerous icons, wooden coffins with a woodcut, and a stunning table with the Last Supper carved on it. The most prominent work of this artist is certainly Zlatibor fast train, a statue of a mountain horse and a peasant which is placed in the middle of the tourist resort Zlatibor, nearby the lake. His life-size statues most often decorate ethno-villages, so they can be seen in Zlakusa, Kremni, Mokra Gora, but also throughout the whole Serbia. In the village Šljivovica, there is a watermill Tijanić, which is more than 150 years old and still operational, mainly used by the people of Šljivovica and surrounding places. It's interesting that its grinding wheel is the same from the very beginning. Restaurant Pego is located on the main road Zlatibor-Tara. In the village Šljivovica, it is one of the restaurants with the longest tradition in Zlatibor. And what makes it stand out from the others is the outstanding roast lamb and the phenomenal bun with everything. Guests can find the accommodation in the apartments of rural tourism households, and there is a total capacity of 45 beds. Mačkat is located on the northeastern slopes of Zlatibor. It is 16 kilometers away from the tourist center, along the main road that leads from Belgrade to South Adriatic Sea. halfway between Užice and the tourist center Zlatibor. At an altitude of 750 meters, the village has a population of approximately 800 people who are mainly engaged in agriculture and manufacture of cured meat products. The church in Mačkat was built on the site of an old medieval necropolis related to the legend of young King Dušan's victory against Bogomils. This place of worship is dedicated to Saint Elijah. The church was very damaged in the first decades of the 20th century, but then reconstructed in the early 1930s with the help of Bishop Nikolai Velimirovich. The royal doors from the 19th century, the work of painter Pavle Čortanović, has been preserved and kept in the church, as well as the throne icon of Jesus Christ, the work of Alexei Lazović. The church also has several special icons, relocated from the old log church in Cerovo, 1810 to 1860. The registers of births from 1837 to 1850 and the Greek antiments donated by Serdar Jovan Mičić were also moved to this church. Other antiquities include a cross from 19th century made by the goldsmith and two of his apprentices, as well as the holy chalice made of silver with inscription "Contribution of Queen Natalia to the Church of Saint Elijah." The church in Mačkat is open for visitors every day. Kind priests of the church are always available to tell you some more about the church and its history. The most attention from visitors draws the castle of Ratko Šopalović, a volunteer in Balkan Wars and a great fighter in the First World War who went blind after the Battle of Kajmakčalan. The castle was built with the help of King Petar Karađorđević I and according to the image of a Mediterranean building that Ratko Šopalović kept in his memory. Beside the beautiful nature, favorable climate, health benefits, accessibility, and the large number of tourist attractions, Zlatibor is also known for its gastronomy. Due to its geographical position and appropriate climate conditions, the village Mačkat has long been known for its production of cured meat products. The people of Mačkat have found a beautiful way to utilize the natural potential of the area, and while preserving the tradition, they have set up numerous facilities for cured meat production. Among all gastronomic specialties and traditional domestic products made on Zlatibor, prosciutto has a special place. The most famous are pork prosciutto and beef prosciutto. Thanks to mastery of the skills of the salting and curing the meat by smoking, the hosts of Zlatibor maintain the perfection of their products. The pieces of meat of the highest quality is being cured by smoking on the fire of beech wood and the fresh mountain air for about 15 days. Beside prosciutto, other cured meat products such as sheep's stelia, bacon, various types of sausages and the pork ribs are what this village is famous for. In order to familiarize Zlatibor visitors with these specialties, the degustation center Zarić in Mačkat has been opened. In this tasting center, decorated in a cozy mountain style, the visitors can find out more about the production process, they can taste and buy cured meat products. The symbol of Mačkat is the best prosciutto and the prosciutto festival that has been held here for over than 2 decades, but for the gourmands, the roasted lamb from the village is the unsurpassed delight. They say that this is the most delicious roasted lamb in Serbia. Throughout the center of this village, there are taverns where freshly roasted lamb is always awaiting for the guests. The traditional Zlatibor snack is always a must-try. Within the National House bio, you'll find bio lodgings, 5 small wooden lodgings, 3 of which are as big as the hotel room with a bathroom, and 2 duplexes, ideal to accommodate the whole family. The total capacity of these units is 20 people. In this beautiful ambience and a fully equipped accommodation, these lodgings are one of the favorite places for those who want to rest from a busy lifestyle and the city bustle. Guests can also find accommodation in 3 rural tourism households, which have the capacity of 13 beds. Vast grassy pastures, centuries-old pine forests, and the untouched nature are the main features of Jablanica, one of the largest mountain villages in Serbia. Even Elvi Čelebi had mentioned Jablanica in 1664 in his travelogues. Jablanica is 22 kilometers away from the center of Zlatibor at an altitude of 445 meters. It has around 750 inhabitants. Beside the natural beauty that surrounds the village from each and every side, the village is particularly known for the log cabin church built in 1838, dedicated to the Shroud of the Holy Virgin. The church is located in the hills above the village houses, placed among the centuries-old pine trees. It was built of wooden logs on a rectangular foundation with a semicircular altar apse. The preserved from the old iconostasis are the royal doors, the principal icons of Jesus Christ, the Blessed Virgin Mary with Jesus Christ, and the icon of Saint Basil of Ostrog with the Saint John the Baptist. Within the church complex there are chalets, log houses built by the affluent locals used to accommodate their family members during the religious ceremonies and the gatherings. The year 1840, written in color, was found on one of those that were preserved. This is a wooded area, over 5,000 hectares covered with forests with the centuries-old pine trees. It's enchantingly beautiful. It stretches the valley of the river Jablanica, and above the village rises the highest peak of Zlatibor, Tornik, from which this river wells up. Then the river Jablanica flows into Crni Rzav. The spring Bela Voda in Jablanica is a hyper-alkaline groundwater, very rare in the world. The well springs are located in Zlatibor's Ribnica and Mokra Gora. It is noticed that hyper-alkaline mineral waters are highly beneficial in treatment of eye and skin conditions, kidney inflammation, chronic gastritis, eczema and psoriasis. The village Jablanica has been well known for a long time for its manufacture, a trade that has been passed on through generations and a main source of income for hundreds of families. The skill of tar producing was taught from an early age with the help of the old tar makers' masters. In the archival document from 1919, it is written about Jablanica that almost all citizens are involved in the preparation of the raw materials for tar production. Tar was once highly valued by both manufacturers and irreplaceable in the pharmaceutical industry, and in this village it was used to protect log cabins from rain and treatment of domestic animals. Nowadays, only a few tar makers are still keeping the traditional procedure of tar production from being forgotten. The village elementary school Dimitrije Tucović was made of wood in 1919, but later in 1934 the people of Jablanica built a masonry constructed school, which has been used for a long time and reconstructed in 2000. Every year, the two main traditional events are organized by the village: the traditional celebration of Orthodox New Year and Selski Višeboj. The Orthodox New Year's Eve ceremony is held and celebrated on January 13 in the churchyard. In time around Vidovdan, Serbian national and religious holiday, Selski Višeboj in Jablanica is a competition in traditional skills, sports and skills that are kept from oblivion, and is considered one of the best organized rural manifestations. Tourism in this village has recently started to rise. The beauties of the nature and recreational contents attract people who love mountain vacations. Tourist association in the village works effectively. Accommodation capacity in Jablanica includes 22 beds.